Okay, guys, this is Isaiah 8. Okay, I'm uploading daily prayer right now, and it already looked like it was going to hiccup a little bit. Hopefully, it works fine. I got to see if I can get my laptop working. We'll see. We're going to figure out what's going on. So now we're going to read Isaiah 8, and this is going to be Assyria will invade the land, and he's going to dig a little deeper. And what's funny is I kind of pre read this a little bit yesterday because I was escorting my dad to his appointments, and has a little bit of time, and there's a very interesting name here, and I would love to dig deeper into this to see if I can find anything else. But this is interesting because this name is mentioned multiple times, and I think there's probably some meaning behind it. So let's go through Isaiah 8 and see what he has to say, and there is a lot here. We're not scarcely going to cover all of it in just this one video. Moreover, the Lord said to me, take a large scroll and write on it with a man's pen concerning Maher Shalal Hashbaz. I find it interesting, he says, take a large scroll and write on it with a man's pen. Uh, I would have to go look back into history and see if there was a woman's pen. I mean, I don't understand what the man's pen is. That jumped out at me. And so I'm going to try to see if I can get my laptop to work and Google it. I can Google and look deeper into that and see if there's anything else to that. But that's interesting to me. But that would be something you guys can do too if you want. And that name, Maher Shalal Hashbaz. Verse 2, and I will take for myself faithful witnesses to record Uriah the priest and Zechariah the son of Jeberechiah. And now we know who these guys are. We know who Uriah is. We know who Zechariah is. So there's a timestamp according to this here. Verse 3, then I went to the prophetess. Now we don't know who this is. And she conceived and bore a son. Then the Lord said to me, call his name Maher Shalal Hashbaz. It would be interesting to find out who this prophetess is, because she bore a son. And it may be mentioned elsewhere in the Bible. Like I said, I don't know. We're not going to be able to cover everything in this one video. There's a lot here. But this name, that's a very interesting name. Verse 4, for before the child shall have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother. The riches of Damascus, which means basically before he can talk. The riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria will be taken away before the king of Assyria. The Lord also spoke to me again, saying, inasmuch as these people refuse the waters of Shiloh that flow softly, and rejoice in Rezin and in Remaliah's son, now therefore, behold, the Lord brings up over them the waters of the river, strong and mighty, the king of Assyria and all his glory. He will go up over all his channels and go over all his banks. So he's going to come like a flood to overtake them. He will pass through Judah. He will overflow and pass over. He will reach up to the neck, and the stretching out of his wings will fill the breadth of your land, O Emmanuel. Very cryptic, very code-like speech here. That this particular individual, this child, has this very interesting name. And he's going to speak, and these witnesses are going to speak through Uriah and Zechariah. So that tells me that the whatever Uriah wrote probably has some mention in there, and Zechariah would have mention in there about this stuff. But that name really, that's a very interesting, the way that name's put together. It's like it's multiple names. And then this is going to be a marker for what the king of Assyria is going to do. Be shattered, verse 9, O you peoples, and be broken in pieces. Give ear, all you from far countries. Gird yourselves, but be broken in pieces. Gird yourselves, but be broken in pieces. This is poetic speech here. You're going to be girded up and okay on the outside, but you're going to be broken on the inside. Verse 10, take counsel together, but it will come to nothing. Speak the word, but it will not stand, for God is with us. Fear God, heed his word. So he's telling them, take counsel, have your meetings. It's not going to do you any good. Speak the word, but it's not going to stand. You're gonna say these things, you're gonna jump out with these things, but it's not going to do you any good at all. Verse 11, for the Lord spoke thus to me with a strong hand and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people. So now Isaiah is talking, saying, hey, the Lord said, hey, and he said it hardcore, don't be involved in this stuff. Verse 12, and this one's going to jump out at everybody. Do not say a conspiracy concerning all that this people call a conspiracy, nor be afraid of their threats, nor be troubled. Now, how much do you think that maybe is referring to our time? Because that stood out to me. Because that's what everybody says now. Conspiracy, conspiracy. Well, the thing is that it's only a conspiracy theory until it proves true. And they say, oh, conspiracy, and then it proves true. And then they're like, but then they don't want to acknowledge it. So what he's telling Isaiah is, Isaiah, don't get involved in that stuff. Because what they'll try to do is they'll say conspiracy to detract from it. So people will, oh, what's a conspiracy? I'm not interested. I'm not going to say tinfoil hat, tinfoil hat. I'm not going to get involved in that. Well, it's only until it proves true. Because if you've ever seen the movie with Mel Gibson, Conspiracy Theory, Mel Gibson and forget the girl's name. Conspiracy Theory, that's what happened in that movie. They all thought he was crazy. He was crazy. It's conspiracy, and then all of a sudden they found out it wasn't. How long did people talk about Big Brother? Back in the late 70s, early 80s, Big Brother, Big Brother. And then we fought that off, got rid of that. So they took that satellite system they had put up in place at that time and turned it into the global positioning system. That's what your phone GPS attaches to. Still Big Brother, still tracking you. They just did it a different way. They thought it was a conspiracy until they proved it. Facebook was tracking you. Twitter was tracking you. Selling your information. Oh, it's conspiracy, conspiracy. And then it proved true. Jade Helm. Everybody forgot about Jade Helm. They're just trying to do stuff on American soil. They're going to... Conspiracy, conspiracy. They're going to go and they're going to start watching people. And conspiracy, conspiracy, yeah. Well, a lot of people don't know that when they came to Texas and Governor Abbott sent our own people to watch them, they caught them doing those things. It's not a conspiracy anymore. Shadow government. Now they have the documentation. Not a conspiracy anymore. Hunter Biden laptop. Conspiracy, conspiracy. Not a conspiracy anymore. Ukrainian deals, China deals. Not a conspiracy anymore. The vaccine. Not a conspiracy anymore. So what God is telling Isaiah, don't get caught up in their nonsense. You know the truth, that's what you stick with. Don't be in this whole tinfoil hat stuff. Don't be there calling people this. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Because it's not. Because I'm the one controlling it. Do not be afraid of their threats, nor be troubled. So verse 12 is for everybody today. Do not say a conspiracy concerning all that this people calls a conspiracy, nor be afraid of their threats, nor be troubled. That's for today. That's your verse for today. Don't get involved in that stuff. Don't be troubled by it. Verse 13, the Lord of hosts, him you shall hallow. Let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. He will be as a sanctuary, but a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, we know what that is, to both the houses of Israel, as a trap and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Who is that? That's Jesus Christ. Stone of stumbling, rock of offense. That's one of his names. Verse 15, and many among them shall stumble. They shall fall and be broken, be snared and taken. That's happening right now. How applicable is this book? We're 8 chapters in, and look how applicable this book is. So we're going to get worse from here. Bind up the testimony, verse 16. Seal the law among my disciples. And I will wait on the Lord, who hides his face from the house of Jacob, and I will hope in him. Here am I and the children whom the Lord has given me. We are for signs and wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, who dwells in Mount Zion. Signs and wonders. What amazing speech. How amazing is that speech as we go to the New Testament and see the same speech talking about right now. So, what is Isaiah talking about? See, those signs and wonders were for back then, but we still have his book that shows us those signs and wonders now. Hello? Is this thing on? Is anybody out there? Here am I and the children whom the Lord has given me. That's the disciples. We are for signs and wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, who dwells in Mount Zion. You and I are the signs and wonders for the rest of the world out here. Think about that. Verse 19, and when they say to you, seek those who are mediums and wizards. Hello? That's right now. Who whisper and mutter. That's right now. Speaking in tongues. Should not a people seek their God? Should they seek the dead on behalf of the living? Don't go to that house where them people are doing that stupid stuff with the Ouija board. I told a good friend of mine, hey, let's play with the Ouija board. Nope. Oh, well, I'll just get it out. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. No. Will not do this. Luckily, they hadn't opened it yet. Because you have to do the process and open the window. Luckily, they didn't do it. People make fun of that stuff. Conspiracy theory. No, that's a window. And we know the name of the demon that governs it. People mock that stuff till they see it's true. Don't get involved in it. Don't get tied up with that. Don't seek mediums and wizards. And yet fortune tellers make a ton of money. I know Christians who do this stuff. Do it and go and have it done. But they're in the church praising God Sunday morning. Some of them will go to church on Sunday morning and go to the medium on Sunday afternoon. Should not a people seek their God? Lord, what do you want me to do? Should they seek the dead on behalf of the living? What can the dead do for the living? Nothing. You can't communicate with the dead. You're not allowed to. All this stuff with this talk of ghosts. Okay, I understand there's a certain something going on when the veil thins. In some places the veil will thin and there's some type of interaction. But, because I can't fully explain that. But, I know we're not allowed to talk to them. We're not allowed to communicate with them. Because the Bible says we're not allowed to. The Lord said, don't do that. He's telling it right now. Verse 20. To the law and to the testimony. If they do not speak according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. Stop. What did I mention this morning in daily prayer? What have I been mentioning? If they try to bring another truth versus the truth of what the Bible says, they're not speaking according to this word. It's something different. Now, again, there's a difference between somebody who the Lord hasn't revealed it to yet, or hasn't gotten to that level yet in their understanding, versus someone who uses it as an opportunity to hate. That would be somebody who would speak directly against the word on purpose. Big difference. You got to figure out who you're dealing with. To the law and to the testimony. If they do not speak according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. If they speak against the word of God, there's a problem with that person. I'm talking about directly against, not just out of because they haven't seen it yet. Not just because they're like, well, I don't know, I don't really see that. But somebody who is doing it on purpose to cause division. That's what that's talking about. That's right now. Verse 21, they will pass through it hard, pressed, and hungry. And it shall happen when they are hungry that they will be enraged and curse their king and their God and look upward. That's right now too. Because they're not being fed by the word. Listen, the word is the bread of life. They're not being fed by it. So they start to get hungry. They start to get starving. They start to get angry. Because they're not getting what they thought they were going to get out of it. Because they're not doing it right. Instead, they're trying to feed themselves with their own efforts instead of going to the Lord for the food. When Jesus fed the 5,000, did the people break the bread and the fishes up? Did the people go and get it? No. The Lord said, make them sit down. He gave thanks and broke the bread and the fishes, and the apostles passed it out to them. See, we got to go to the Lord for these things. And when the time is right, he will deliver it. He will bring it to you and place it in front of you. Here's your food. It's all symbolism. It's all typology of what's coming. Those that won't go to the Word, they're always hungry because they're not feeding on it. They're not ingesting it. They're not letting it become a part of them. And they will curse their king and their God and look upward. Then they will look to the earth, verse 22, and see trouble and darkness, gloom and anguish, and they will be driven into darkness. Just like Jude says, this is what's going to happen for those people. This is what's waiting for them, who will not seek truth and stay there, who will not desire him and lean into him and hide under his wings and hold on to him, but instead try to find their own way. Well, you know what? I'm not getting what I want fast enough, so I'm going to do my own thing. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. Don't go there. Don't do that. It's like coming up to a stream. We need to cross this. Where do we cross it at? Well, we can cross that rotten looking log up there that goes way up over the top of it. We can walk right here where the water's flying through, or we can go downstream a little further and find the shallow spot that is going to come up, there always is, and walk across that. I ain't got time for this. I'm going up on that log. That seems like the safest. The other person, oh, you know what? It don't look that deep. And start crossing right there where the water's fast. Yeah, guys, I'm going to walk down a little ways. I'm going to see if there's a better spot. And then, who do you think made it across the river? I guarantee you the guy that went in the deep water, if he didn't drown, got washed down to the shallow spot. Now he's wet and mad. The guy that walked across the rotten log, if it broke, hopefully he didn't die on the way down, falling into the river and drown. Hopefully it didn't mash him up when it broke and collapsed in. Hopefully he just got out wet, but now they're both mad and wet. And the other guy's, he's okay because he took the way the Lord told him to take. Take the easy way. I made it shallow there for a reason. We have this horrible habit as humans to make things harder on ourselves than we need to make them. Let us not overcomplicate a simple process. Let us not make it harder than it has to be, but instead let us take what the Lord has given us and present it the same way. Let us walk the path he has set before us. Now, we may look on either side of the path and go, ooh, that looks interesting, but don't leave the path. Stay there. Because what's at the end of the path is much better. What's waiting at the end of the path is everything. These people that are doing all these things that they're doing today in the name of God, these people that are taking his name in vain, these people that are taking the word and doing everything they can but read it like it's what it says and turning it into something else to suit whatever passions they've got going on or to satisfy whatever desire they have or whatever's going on with them. Nothing good will come out of that. You can't take what the Lord has made perfect and try to make it perfect. If it's already perfect, there's nothing to change. But they're trying to, because they're trying to make it perfect for them. But without realizing, all they had to do is accept it and receive it. It's already perfect, and it's perfect for them just like that. But some people are never satisfied. Some people will find something to complain about with everything. If you're that kind of person, if you find the negative in everything, I desperately implore you to change that. Instead, look for the positive. Because when you look for the positive, you find him. If all you're looking for is the negative, all you ever find is negative. Guys, that was Isaiah 8. Tomorrow will be Isaiah 9, the government of the promised son. Again, everybody always refers back to Isaiah 53. Man, we started talking about Jesus in Isaiah 7. It's going to be a lot of him in this thing, and this is going to be good. But this is the government of the promised son will be the next one, and this ought to be interesting. But I'm still interested in this name. Maher Shalal Hashbaz. That's an interesting name. I'm wondering if this is something for now. I'm wondering if that. If I can get my computer to work, I'm gonna see if I can look that up and see if I can find anything else out about that. If I do, I'll do a part 2 to Isaiah 8. Because that's interesting to me. That's really stands out because it seems like he's not talking about, hey, this kid, when this kid comes, this is what you're going to give him the name, and this is going to be this and that and the other. It almost seems like he's talking about this is going to be something future. We'll see, because it mentions Assyria. This kind of seems like Antichrist talk. I don't know. Just jumps out at me. But I'll do the research that I can. You guys can do yours, and we'll take it from there. We'll see where the Lord leads us on this. All right. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.